you like that?
What's up, my little flowers? Welcome back to hell. Here we are again with yet another unpopular opinions video. As I've said before, I know that this trend is overdone, but I genuinely enjoy giving my controversial opinions, and you guys seem to like it too, so why not make this? And also, upon recording this, it's my birthday, so just let me make what I want. Firstly, I want to say thank you guys so much for the support on the other two unpopular opinions videos and on my newest video about dating in the idol industry. I was kind of nervous to post that one in specific because it's a controversial topic in itself, and it was the first video with my actual voice. But you guys were really positive, so thank you so much. If you're new to my channel and don't know how this works, I just simply take an opinion off Reddit and either agree or disagree and talk about why I feel that way. Pretty much like any other unpopular opinions video. Also, let me add, as always, your opinions are valid, even if they don't agree with mine. You're entitled to what you believe, just like I am. I'm not trying to be mean to anyone who holds opposite opinions. I'm just trying to explain my point of view. So these opinions are going to start out easy and kind of ramp up in levels of controversy. Okay, so opinion number 1. English versions of songs should stay. I see a lot of hate for English versions of K-pop songs. They say the lyrics are awkward or bad, or it's just pandering, or maybe the songs are just awful in English. To all that I say, who cares? If you don't like them, that's totally fine. I don't think the English versions are better, but sometimes it's nice to sing a title song I like at the top of my lungs in a language I understand. Hard for me to straight sing more and more or not shy when I don't speak Korean. Okay, so this first opinion is pretty harmless in my opinion, and I'm gonna go ahead and say that I actually kind of agree with this person. Now, I definitely don't think that English songs should become the main songs that a group makes, because I feel like that can be kind of seen as pandering towards an American audience by the company rather than a group being their authentic selves. I personally have no problem with English versions of songs. I don't think the lyrics are bad. I mean, there are definitely groups that do English versions better than some other groups, and I kind of prefer to listen to them, but most of the time, the lyrics aren't bad in my opinion, and the pronunciation's usually pretty good. I mean, could you sing a song in a language that you didn't know or weren't fluent in as well as some of these groups can? Because I know I couldn't. I mean, anyone who knows this channel knows that Monsta X is one of my favorite groups of all time, and one of my favorite albums of theirs is actually their all English album, so that should speak volumes in of itself. Now, I understand that a lot of people don't like English version of songs because it seems like it's pandering, as I mentioned before, to American audiences to have the group make it bigger in America. Honestly, I don't see a huge problem with that, as long as the group is still happy and the members genuinely want to sing in English. I don't want any of the groups I like to be forced to sing in a language that they don't want to sing in, which probably does happen sometimes behind the scenes. So I definitely don't support that. But if the group genuinely wants to make songs in multiple languages, I'd be down for it. Hell, make the songs in Spanish too. Make them in every single language. I'd be chill with that. I think as long as the majority of K-pop stays in the original Korean language, then it should be fine. Because I do understand sometimes people are worried that K-pop is going to eventually turn into just all English and lose all semblance of Korean in the lyrics, and that kind of takes away some stuff from the concept of K-pop in general, which I would agree with. But I don't think K-pop is ever going to stop using Korean lyrics, because a lot of that is what makes it stand out. Opinion number 2. Bicycle by Chungha is one of her best releases, if not the best. Okay, so I didn't include the explanation for this person's opinion because it was a pretty simple, straightforward opinion, and I'm gonna say that I am kind of on the fence about this. I don't agree, but I don't disagree. I don't think that Bicycle is her best release of all time, but I definitely don't think it deserved the hate that it got, because I saw on Twitter and other social medias, Bicycle, I mean, I'm not gonna say it wasn't popular, but it did not compare to other releases. People just didn't like it that I saw, and especially the rap part, a lot of people had problems with that, and it wasn't that bad to me. I mean, it's like, it's a standard song. It's not, like I said, I don't think it's her best song. I think her best songs are either Stay Tonight or X, which was a new release as well on the new album, but Bicycle is nowhere near as bad as people made it out to be. It's very pretty visually. The lyrics, you know, are not these deep, moving, like, love yourself or I learned to love myself kind of lyrics. You know, they're pretty straightforward, but sometimes you need songs like that. Not every song has to be super emotional and super deep. Some can just be about riding a bike, or, you know, because she was definitely talking about riding a bike. But in my opinion, Bicycle probably was the weakest out of all of the title tracks or pre-release tracks. I would agree with that, but I don't think that Bicycle was anywhere near as bad as people made it out to be. It didn't deserve hate. It was a decent song, and I still play it on my playlist, so that's my opinion on that. Okay, opinion number 3. So this is where we start to get into a bit more controversial or longer form opinions. Opinion number 3. Spotify and Cacao M don't owe you any music. By the way, I totally probably just butchered Cacao M. I don't even know if that's how you say that, and if it's not, I'm sorry. I'm bad at pronunciations of stuff. In light of many K-pop songs not being available on Spotify anymore, I will channel some of my boomer energy. Spotify is a streaming platform. You don't own any music there. They don't have to provide all music. While it's nice to have all songs available on Spotify, there can always be disagreements between Spotify and the license provider, in this case, Cacao M. Most of the time, this is about money. So if Spotify and Cacao M can't reach an agreement, the music is not available there. There are other ways to listen to music. If you just want to support the artist, just buy the albums. They're digitally available on most major platforms, or you can buy a physical copy, which might be difficult outside of South Korea. That's how you got your music before streaming became a thing. Of course, sharing with friends is also possible. You can also use other streaming services like YouTube, Tidal, Apple Music, or Amazon. I know that in this specific case also, the artists were blindsided by the moves of Spotify and Cacao M. I understand their anger as they want to provide their music via Spotify and other platforms. However, this is something that their lawyers and management have to work out. They all signed deals, and this is where they ended up now. I'm pretty sure they're working on a solution. Don't expect all music to be on Spotify. If you really want to listen to it, just buy it. Okay, so this is kind of gonna take multiple parts to break down this opinion, because I'm gonna say it right now, I disagree with this pretty heavily, and I'll explain why. Also, I'd like to note that I think the Spotify and Cacao M licensing problem has actually been fixed. Last time I heard, most of the music had been returned. I'm not sure if all of it was returned, but I think most of it was returned, and they were working on getting all of it back on. So if I'm wrong about that, let me know in the comments, because I didn't stay crazy up to date with it, but I think it's fixed, so hopefully. Alright, so there's a lot of claims being made here that I kind of want to address lots of parts of this argument. One of the first one being that Spotify is a streaming platform, so you don't own any music there, so they don't owe you music. I would say incorrect. I mean, no one in this world owes you anything, but they're a business that sells streaming music. Like, I don't know how that's not common sense. I'm not trying to be rude, but like, Spotify's a music business. It's a business that provides songs, just like Apple Music or Tidal or YouTube does with YouTube Music. So yeah, it kind of is their job, and they kind of do owe their buyers music. If someone's paying, how much is it for Spotify Premium? I don't have Spotify Premium. Is it like $5 a month? Is it more than that? I don't know. I'm very ignorant on this because I don't use Spotify Premium. I use it for free because I'm a very poor college student. But people that do pay for these services like Spotify or even Apple Music are kind of owed what they pay for, which is music. So if the music that they paid for to be there isn't on there, that's kind of a problem for the company, because all these people that want their music on there are going to take their services elsewhere. So they're losing money. So it is their job. Also, I'd like to comment, I think the Spotify and Cacao M thing, to my knowledge, it was a disagreement because Spotify was not in Korea, to my knowledge, because I don't think Disney Plus is over there either. And Spotify was about to launch in South Korea, so Cacao M, which is in charge of, I think, Melon streaming services, I might be wrong on that, but it's in charge of some streaming service over in Korea that's very widely used, and they also own the licensing to a lot of songs, with the exception of some big artists like BTS, Blackpink. They don't own those, but most of the music, as we saw from this fiasco, is owned and licensed by Cacao M. So pretty much Cacao M knew that they couldn't directly compete with Spotify because, of course, a large amount of people are going to switch over to Spotify once it becomes available in Korea, and you cannot compete against a company as big as Spotify. So they knew they were going to lose money and lose profits, so they did what they thought was best, which was removing all the music from Spotify and basically saying, well, if you want to use Spotify here in Korea, you can't listen to K-pop music or K-R&B. I know K-R&B and K-hip-hop artists got very negatively impacted as well. And that's my problem with this whole situation, is that it was solely about money. That is one of the things that this original poster of the opinion was right about, that it was about money, because Cacao M knew they couldn't directly compete, so they just yoinked all their songs off the Spotify playlist and kind of screwed over the artist and the fans, which is really, really shitty in my opinion. I understand that they're going to lose a lot of money, but as a company, like, you still own the licensing rights to all these songs, so you're still going to make a shit ton of money. And if that's not correct, and I just don't understand how that business works, I'm sure there were other ways that they were going to be able to make money off that music. Maybe not as much, but they were still going to be able to make plenty of money. The part that angers me is that they blindsided the artist and the fans, and it was really, really shitty because, you know, bigger groups like some of the bigger groups that got taken off, like 17, you know, it really sucks that 17, I think, lost, what did people say? They lost 1 million streams? I can't remember I think it was 1 million. They had lost a lot of streams, though, from the songs that they had removed, and people were really upset about that, rightfully so. You know, I'm a fan of 17 myself, and that really, really pissed me off. But more so, I felt bad for the smaller artists that were getting affected, because as much as losing those streams for 17 really, really sucked, 17 doesn't need Spotify to be popular in America or any other Western country, or even in Korea. They just simply don't need it. 17 has enough fans now, and any other group, I'm not exclusively talking about 17, I'm talking about any big group that had their music removed. They have enough fans now where they would be fine without the streaming service. It would hurt them a lot, but they wouldn't be completely unable to continue making music, if you know what I mean. But some of the really small artists, like K-R&B or K-hip-hop artists, couldn't say the same thing. And as someone who's a fan of a lot of K-R&B artists, it really hurt to kind of see that they might not be able to continue making music, because some of them were just starting their careers or just starting to get fame or accomplishment in places outside of Korea, and Spotify was really helping them do that. So that's the part that sucked the most for me. But going back to the original opinion, the other part of it I wanted to address was the idea that if you want to support the artist or you want to listen to the music, just buy the albums or buy a service like Apple Music or Amazon or Tidal or YouTube Music. That statement, and I know that the original poster probably didn't mean it this way, but that statement is it comes from a place of such privilege to say, oh, it's not on Spotify? Well, just buy it. Just buy the album. Just buy a new streaming service. It's not that easy for everyone, and I think it's kind of hard for some people to realize that. Like me, for example, I am in college right now, and college is very, very expensive. I get a lot of money to go to college through scholarships and financial aid and other things like that because I come from a low-income family, and I know plenty of people that if this happened to them, they couldn't sit and afford to pay for another streaming service. They couldn't just buy an album. K-pop albums are very, very expensive if you're buying a physical copy, and not everyone has that kind of money laying around. And I know a lot of people are going to say that a lot of these streaming services are just like $5 or $10 or whatever, and that's not a lot of money a month, you know, if you don't have $10, blah, 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 blah. But to people who don't have that kind of money, it is a lot of money. You know, $5 is the difference between having a meal and not having a meal for some people. $5 racks up, $5 a month. And also you have to think about the fans of music that may not be old enough to buy their own music or buy their own streaming services. You know, I'm saying even if someone's like 17, you can't be on a bank account in America. I don't know how other countries work, but in America, you can't be on a bank account by yourself until you're a legal adult. So, like, your parents pretty much see every single thing you buy, or at least that's the way I understand it. That's the way it works for me and where I'm from. And there are some people, especially where I'm from, that their families aren't crazy about the idea of foreign music because they come from places of severe racism. And so if their families knew that they were buying or listening to Korean pop music rather than English pop music, they do kind of face backlash from their families. And that might seem like an extreme case, but it's one that's real and one that needs to be talked about because it's one that I personally have firsthand experience with. My own family's very much that way, and once the music was taken off of Spotify, it kind of sucked because I was forced to listen to it on YouTube with the browser open, so you can't really go and do anything else, and it's just not great. It's not ideal, I'll say that. This opinion kind of piggybacks off the other one, so I'll make it kind of fast. Opinion number 4, I wish the Spotify Cacao M fiasco had affected the big 3/4 companies. Unpopular because I'm assuming that if SM, YG, JYP, and big hit artist music had been removed, a good majority of K-pop fans would have been significantly affected, including myself, based on the simple logic that big 3/4 groups are generally the most popular and therefore have the most fans. But that's exactly the point. Imagine for a moment that BTS's music disappeared from Spotify without warning. Are you picturing this? Yeah, me too. ARMY is known for being one of the most dedicated and passionate fan bases in history, and for good reason. I've seen multiple people, even non-K-pop fans, say they're afraid of ARMY. If BTS had been affected in the Spotify purge, ARMY would have gone apeshit. There would have been absolute hell to pay. There would have been campaigns, boycotts, petitions. Spotify and Cacao M would have been brought to their knees, and they would have had to figure something out, and quickly, or ARMY would have literally destroyed them. Maybe I'm overestimating the power of K-pop fans, but you can't tell me they wouldn't do literally everything in their power to get their faves music back on the service. This is, of course, not to say that other fandoms aren't as dedicated as ARMY, because obviously that's not true, but very few, likely no fandoms have the sheer size and thus power that ARMY does. Combine them with Blinks, XOLs, Onces, Reviloves, Agazes? I've never known how to say that, and I'm a fan of GOT7. That's embarrassing. I'm embarrassing. Etc. And Spotify, Cacao M would have had the angriest mob the world has probably ever seen at their doorstep. There's also the fact that big 3/4 companies have had way more money and influence than smaller companies and would have a better chance of successfully forcing Spotify and Cacao M to work something out or figuring out a different distributor and making Cacao M beg for mercy. I would even argue that if Cacao M was responsible for distributing these companies' music, the Spotify purge wouldn't have even happened in the first place for fear of retaliation. Okay, I'm gonna try and make this brief since we've been talking about Spotify for way too long, and I don't have a sponsorship from Spotify, so y'all don't deserve to be talked about this long. I actually am not sure if the big 3 or /4, depending on what you're considering, I'm not sure if there was groups that were affected by this. I thought that there were a few from the big 3 that were affected by the Spotify purge, as this person put it, but I guess not, if this is what they're saying. I don't know. I'm kind of uneducated on that, but I'm gonna assume that no groups were. I can understand this person's point of view, but I disagree with it. I understand what they mean, but to me, I wouldn't really want to wish people having their music removed on anyone, any fans. Even if it means that music would have gotten put back faster, I don't really want to take away anyone's music, and that's kind of my position. I understand where this person's coming from, saying, like, if all of BTS's music was removed from Spotify, then yeah, there'd be hell to pay. It would have been trending on Twitter literally every day till Spotify and Cacao M got their shit together. That would 100% be true. So I do agree with this part of the argument that yes, it probably would have gotten fixed a lot faster. I would say that, yeah. Or the idea that they would have even never taken the music off in the first place. I do kind of agree with that kind of stuff. I do think, yeah, if ARMY or Blinks or Onces, any of them had been involved, I think, yeah, it would have been seriously, pretty bad. But that being said, as much as I understand that point of view, I really don't want to wish people having their music taken away on any group, because it really sucks for the fans, because fans, and for the artist as well, I know it sucks for the artist, I'm not discouraging that, but I'm saying it really sucks for fans, especially some that, like I said, can't afford to switch to other means of listening, and those that use it kind of as a means of therapy because they have a lot of mental health issues, you know plenty of people like that. So that really sucks, and I wouldn't want to be the cause of that for anyone. So I understand the logic, I agree with the logic, but I don't want anyone's music taken away. Okay, opinion number 5. BTS filled the void of One Direction's disbandment, and that is why no other group will ever be as big. Boy bands are not a generally appealing concept in the West, just like how they are not as big in Korea anymore. When 1D went on hiatus, they were still massively popular, and there was still a decent market for the boy band concept in the West. About 2 years after 1D disbands, August of 2015, enter BTS. BTS fully breaks into the mainstream American market with DNA in September 2017. They perform at the Billboard Music Awards, and it all goes up from there to their peak popularity of present day. BTS perfectly fit into a desired market in the West that frankly does not exist anymore. Of course, they will maintain their status as 1D has, but a boy group replacement when BTS disbands is extremely unlikely. The general public is not looking for another boy band now or later. BTS will likely be the last big boy band because there is little general public interest, and I would argue that many BTS fans are people who found them after 1D went on hiatus as a way to fill their desire of following a boy band. They love the fan-based community and analyzing the member interactions, but everything is heightened because of the amount of content and invasion into their private lives that K-pop offers. Okay, so again, my opinions are gonna be kind of long, so I want to try and make it a little bit shorter. And also forgive me because I don't know a lot about One Direction. I mean, clearly I know who they were, I know a lot of their songs, but I just was never huge into One Direction, and that's nothing against them. I just was not into the boy band concept at the time, but I do know who they were. I mean, I was at like peak boy band age when they were a big thing. So if you can't tell, I disagree with this pretty heavily. I'm gonna break it down by paragraph because I think that's the simplest way to do it. So the first sentence, which is that boy bands are not a generally appealing concept anymore in the West, I think is kind of a lie. Boy bands have always been appealing, and they will continue to do so, just like girl groups have always been appealing and will continue to do so. I mean, a lot of people might not think of them as boy bands, but think back to when music was like after TV was invented, and I'm talking about America here, by the way, because that's what they were talking about. Like after TV and cable and all this stuff became very mainstream, and it was easier to follow artists and what they were doing, right? You had the rise of some of the first like huge artists. So like the Beatles would be a good example from that kind of time period. A lot of people, don't kill me Beatles fans, would say that the Beatles are not a boy band, and I wouldn't necessarily call them that either, but they have the basic concepts of the beginnings of a boy band. So that's why I'm placing them and saying that this concept of like this group of guys who are attractive for their time and age, make good music, and they have fans that are really into that. So there's that. And then in the 80s you had like big hair rock bands, and while rock bands were probably not referred to as boy bands, they hold the same concept. And then in the 90s you had the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and all that stuff, which was known as the boy band era here in America. And of course boy bands were popular then. And then you had the mid to late 2000s, and then early 2010s you had One Direction and 5 Seconds of Summer as well, although I know some people don't like to classify them as a boy band. If I'm classifying the Beatles as a boy band, I'm classifying 5 Seconds of Summer as a boy band, okay? So boy bands have always been popular, and I think they'll continue to be popular. So that opinion, don't agree with. Also, the idea that BTS only became popular in America after One Direction disbanded, I think is false. I mean, yes, BTS was not put on American television or American award shows until like DNA in 2017, as this person said. That is correct, but BTS was very popular before that, even in America. I think they got their big jump start, as many ARMYs would agree, probably in the era where they released Run and I Need You. That was, that was kind of their breakout hit, was I Need You. They were popular before that too. I'm just saying that's when a lot of people migrated towards BTS, was the I Need You era. That's why RM says in the beginnings of Dope, is this your first time with BTS? Because it was for many, many, many people. So I wouldn't say Americans started liking BTS because One Direction disbanded, because One Direction and BTS, while both on paper are boy bands, I think are very different concepts. And I'm sure that there are a lot of fans of One Direction that after they disbanded did switch to BTS, and that's great and that's cool. But I just don't think that the majority of people did in America, if you know what I mean. It's like, because their concepts and the way that they're managed and the performances they do and their lyrical content and concepts are all very different from each other. So I don't think you can really compare the two. That's why I don't like fans that sit and compare One Direction and BTS. They're two entirely different markets, two entirely different things. So while they may be similar by both being boy bands who made it big in America, they're not the same thing. Like I said, forgive me if I'm wrong about anything on One Direction. Wasn't a huge One Direction fan. No hate towards them. I like a lot of their solo music. I just didn't listen or wasn't crazy about the boy band thing back in my early teens. I think boy bands, so my final opinions on this opinion is that I think boy bands will always be popular. Now, I will say, I don't think any group is anytime soon going to reach the level that BTS has, whether they are from South Korea or America. I think at this point, BTS have reached so high that they really cannot be touched in that aspect, and even by American artists. I really don't think anyone's going to top that. BTS has kind of sealed their place in history next to other music icons like Whitney Houston, Michael Jackson, any of those people, that you hear about in the Music Hall of Fame. BTS will be remembered historically for being huge and for having a huge impact on the music industry. I guarantee that. And not even just that, BTS has given such huge leaps forward for Asians here in America to be part of mainstream movies, TVs, and music. So they have a huge impact. And I'm not saying One Direction didn't. One Direction had its huge impact, and their members still continue to do huge things. I mean, look at Harry Styles. He's wearing a dress, and that's cool as hell. But I just think trying to say that anyone is going to follow up with the level of success that BTS had, probably not. I'm not saying it can't be done. I'm just saying I don't think anyone will ever really reach that level, because it's kind of insane how crazy high they are right now. I mean, it's crazy for me, even as an ARMY, to see how big they are. But I'm not going to sit here and say that no boy band is ever going to follow them, because there certainly will be, and there currently are. If you're into K-pop, there's tons of boy groups, and they are just as successful as older third-gen groups. The fourth-gen groups are just as successful. Also, I'd like to add, I don't think that BTS tried marketing in America because they saw One Direction stop, and they were like, finally, our time in America. Yes, BTS has never been like that. They just happen to garner fans from America because they're genuinely good people who make genuinely good music and attract a lot of fans. So that's why they became big in America, is because their fans are so dedicated to making the general public give them a chance, because there's no reason not to like them if you do give them a chance. Okay, this is going to be the final opinion that I read, because it's going to lead into another topic that I kind of want to discuss before I end the video. So, last opinion. I can't wait till awards are revealed for how useless they are. This is unpopular because many people believe that artists solely aim for awards and that they are important for their egos and evidence to their hard work. I don't know if non-Westerners know much about American entertainment awards, but recently people have finally realizing how BS these shows really are. They're rigged. I'm not being salty, literally look up Emily in Paris. And voted by a group of 30 people who believe they have some sort of divine perspective that is more cultured and refined compared to the public's. It means much, much, much more to be a commercial success, i.e. getting money and fan popularity, than critical success, awards, and reviews, especially in the long run. No one deserves an award, no matter how hard an artist works on a product. As the consumer, not their friend, you have a right to not reward good material, even if it takes years to make. Awards Awards only matter in that moment of excitement, but who really cares years later, besides maybe bad arguing between useless fan wars? Okay, so I wanted to talk about this opinion, as you probably guessed, because of the recent BTS Grammys thing. I originally chose this opinion before BTS were at the Grammys, and before we found out that they did not win. So, kind of funny that I chose this and I wanted to talk about it, and now it's kind of a popular thing to talk about, so I'm going to talk about it. So for starters, again, I agree and disagree with parts of this, and I'm going to explain the parts I agree with first. So I definitely think that award shows that have their awards based around audience votes, to me personally, I think are more important than awards that, like this person said, have a group of 30 people who believe that they're just the god of music and can decide what everyone likes. That's just me, and I think a lot of music artists would probably agree that it means more to have an award come from your fans versus a group of like 30 white old men, which are what these groups are, by the way, in case you didn't know. So I definitely agree with that part of the statement. I personally believe that all awards should be decided by fans, even the Grammys. I think the Grammys are complete bullshit the way they're decided by just a group of, I don't know how many people decide the Grammys. We're gonna say 30 because that's what this person said, but I don't know if it's like a committee of 100 people. I know it's not a lot, but if it's a committee of 100 or 30 or 10, I don't know. But I know that they all choose every single award and who wins it for every category, so they really are acting like gods of music there. But I will say this is where I disagree with the opinion that awards don't mean anything. A lot of fans want the artist to win the award, and they think it matters, and they constantly go around saying, oh, it's the greatest award, we can't wait until our artist wins this award. And then when they don't, they kind of call the award bullshit and useless. Okay, so that seems a little bit hypocritical, I will say that. But I'm also gonna say fans' opinions on awards to me don't really matter. What I mean by that is whether or not you think an award is useless doesn't matter. It's the artist that is gonna feel something about that, you know? And I'm not saying that fans can't feel happy when their artists do win awards, because every time any single one of the groups I support wins an award, especially if it's their first award, I almost cry at how emotional I am and how proud I am of these groups to win these awards. And I'm sure a lot of you can relate with that. But I think it means, as much as it means to us as fans, I don't think we'll ever be able to understand how artists feel when they win that award. I mean, just if you've ever won an award in your life, and here come the comments saying, oh, I've never won an award, I don't know what you're talking about. Stop the jokes. If you've ever won any award in your life, ever, even if it's a small piece of paper, one small little piece of recognition, no matter how unimportant it might seem, if you've ever won it, in that moment of winning that award, did it not feel good to have someone recognize you for your talent or your hard work or your achievement, especially if it's something that you put a lot of time and effort and money into, like these artists do with albums and songs? So awards are very important to the artist, because it's a piece of recognition for their achievement. Like I said, I do think awards given by fans and voted on by fan popularity, I do think are, you know, probably mean a little bit more, or should. But that's going to lead into the topic I wanted to finish out this video with, and I'm going to try and make it fast, which is my opinions on BTS at the Grammys. So if you're a K-pop stan and for some reason you didn't know, BTS did not win the Grammy they were nominated for, and it really does bum me out. I mean, like it does all of us. It really, really makes me sad. As I tweeted out on my Twitter account, you can follow me, the link's in the description below. As I mentioned on there, I made a few jokes. I was like, the one big flex that we have left now is the fact that the Grammys live stream literally went from, I think, 1.5 million viewers all the way down to 400,000 viewers in the span of like 5 minutes after BTS did not receive that award. Like, we came, saw, and dipped, and that was amazing. So all ARMY and all K-pop stans in general, because I know it wasn't just ARMY they're supporting, so many people who aren't even fans of BTS but are K-pop fans wanted BTS to win just as a recognition for K-pop and the huge impact it has on the industry. So if you were there and you were supporting and you dipped, you're an icon and I love you. So I'm gonna quickly give my opinion on what I thought before, during, and after the Grammys. So when I saw BTS had been nominated for a Grammy, I was over the moon. I mean, I was, you know, the video of BTS reacting to the fact that they were nominated for a Grammy, that was me. I was jumping. I was so happy for them, because this is what all of them have wanted for so long. And it's crazy to think that the guys that I watched in 2013 debut with No More Dream, that very cringy music video, somehow managed to make it to the Grammys. And still, even now, I get choked up about it, because that's such an achievement. Even if you're not a fan of BTS and you think they're way too popular, you have to admit that that's extremely inspiring to anyone that's fans of K-pop. That it proves that any K-pop group, or any person or group in general around the world, no matter what language you speak, can make it in this industry. Like many other ARMYs said, I would have wished that BTS was nominated for a song other than Dynamite, but I understand why they were nominated for Dynamite. Dynamite's an all-English song. That's why they put that song forward, because they knew it had the greatest chance of winning that nomination, because it's in all English. And let's be real, that committee of however many little old fragile men were not going to sit and vote for a song that's not in English. Those are just facts. They weren't. So I understand why Dynamite was put forward, and I'm not saying I dislike Dynamite. I bopped to that song on the daily. Still, she's on my playlist. She's sitting pretty. She's doing fine. She's doing great. Sometimes you don't need songs, like I said earlier, you don't need songs to be extremely emotional and deep. Sometimes they can just be about shining through the city, and that's fine. If I would have personally picked a BTS song that I think deserved a Grammy this year, or I guess the past year, 2020, it would have been Black Swan, as many BTS fans said. The visuals, the concept, the meaning were just so perfect behind that. I mean, it was beautiful. The whole concept, I mean, even the lyrics of like the idea that artists die twice. The first time they die is when they can no longer make their art. I think that's so incredibly beautiful, and it means a lot to BTS and to ARMY and K-pop fans everywhere, I know. But nonetheless, BTS got nominated for a Grammy, so I was on the hype train. I was so excited. My thoughts going into the Grammys. I had a piece of my mind telling me that I didn't think they were going to win, but I didn't want to be negative. I wanted to go into it positive. We did not go into the Grammys with negative energy. I hope none of you did. We were manifesting, we were sitting, we were keep saying BTS is gonna win, BTS is gonna win. Positive affirmations. That's what we were doing. No negative energy going in. But if you were to ask me who I thought was going to win, if hopefully BTS, we want them to win, but if they didn't win, who I thought was gonna win, it would have been Taylor Swift and Bon Iver. Just because I feel like that song would have been something that the committee probably would have liked. That song just, it was so yeehaw. I mean, it wasn't yeehaw, but it was so like, it was just a song that I feel like a lot of people would like. So I thought the committee would vote for that song rather than any of the other songs if BTS didn't win. But as we know, Rain On Me won, and no hate to Rain On Me. We'll talk about that in a minute. When I watched the Grammys and I saw that Rain On Me won, I was so shocked. Not even that BTS hadn't won, but that it was Rain On Me. I was like, wow, that is not what I thought that the committee would have picked. Because Rain On Me and Dynamite are both very similar in, they're not similar songs, but they're similar in that they're upbeat, like dancey type songs. So if Rain On Me won, then that means that Dynamite really did actually stand like a huge chance to win. So my thoughts after. Firstly, I'd like to make it very clear to anyone who's going to be in my comments and to anyone who's listening to this, I am a huge fan of Ariana Grande. Lady Gaga, I don't listen to as much of her music, but, being in America, she was a huge part of my childhood. She's made constant, bangers. She makes good music. Ariana Grande, I'm a huge fan of. She's probably one of the artists I listen to most, besides if I'm talking about non-K-pop music. So any ARMY, I'm going to say this right now. I'm going to make this opinion very clear. And some of you might not like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it. Any ARMY that's out there sending hate to Ariana Grande or Lady Gaga for winning this award, please seriously look in the mirror and evaluate your life and stop, because what you're doing is wrong and it's hurtful and it's hateful. I understand that we're upset that BTS didn't win, but we do not punish the other artist for winning. We get mad at the Academy, not at the artist, okay? Because Ariana Grande is actually very close friends with BTS. We know this. We saw Jungkook go to her concert. We saw them all meet up in that dance practice room, and we all memed where's Yoongi? Is Yoongi in the bathroom? He's missing. He's not in the photo. So they're cool with each other. So BTS likes Ariana Grande. So if y'all are going on Twitter and hating on her for existing and winning that award, stop it. That is clown behavior, and I'm gonna call you out for it. Who we should be mad at is the Academy, because I have no hatred towards Lady Gaga or Ariana Grande, because both of those artists would stand up for BTS. Both of them have been incredibly supportive icons. Lady Gaga is a huge icon for the LGBTQ plus community. Ariana Grande is as well. So to try and insinuate that they had some kind of hand in stealing this award from BTS is literal clown behavior. Don't do that. BTS wouldn't want you to do that, and it's so mean. Don't do it. Now, the Academy, on the other hand, you can tell those motherfuckers to go jump off a cliff for all I care. Those people we know are some of the most racist, xenophobic, homophobic, sexist people on the planet, and we continue to say that their awards have value. I don't give a shit about the Grammys personally. I've never watched a Grammy award show a day in my life. And the only reason I watched this one was for BTS. And I only came for BTS. I only watched BTS performance, and I only watched BTS award nomination. That was it. I didn't watch any of the Grammys. And I never have, and I probably never will. The Grammys, to me, are nothing. They're trash. I don't care for them. The only reason I wanted BTS to win a Grammy is because they themselves wanted a Grammy. They were so excited about it. Yoongi had been manifesting this for years. Even now, he's trying to keep such a good attitude of being we'll get him next year, and that's so great that he's he wants this award so bad. And that's the part that breaks my heart, is that he wants this award so bad. That's the only reason I wanted a Grammy for BTS. I didn't give a shit about 30 men however many people it is, determining that, oh yeah, I guess K-pop is decent. You can have this award. We'll let you have this. That's not what I cared about. I cared about BTS getting the award because they wanted it and because they worked so hard for it. And for K-pop to finally get the recognition that it deserved. Because this award was never about BTS. Ever. It was, if you sit and say that this award was just about BTS, it wasn't. This award was representative of all of K-pop and all of Asian representation, especially overseas Asian representation in music. Because it's very hard for Asian people to get big in music, even here in America. So for them to come overseas and be able to do that, it's insane. And them winning that award, like I said earlier, wouldn't have just made ARMYs happy, it would have made so many K-pop fans happy, even if they weren't a fan of BTS. Because it means so much for K-pop as a whole. It means that everything we do, all the streaming, all the love and support towards our artist, it means something in the general public, and that we might actually get the recognition that the artist deserves. Okay, so I'm kind of rambling, but at the end of the day, this is my final opinion on it. I don't care about the Grammys. I think that there are huge problems with the Grammys, and they are representative of bigger problems in our society as a whole. If you're not from America, maybe you haven't heard about it. You know, I don't know how many people outside of America have heard about it or not, but there was a horrible, tragic mass shooting recently, and, you know, I think over half the victims were Asian, and it was, like, very clearly racially motivated, even though police won't say it was. And I'm not trying to get political here on my channel, but at a time where Asians are experiencing, like, peak racism here in America, they've always experienced racism, and this like act that they haven't is a complete lie. There are a lot of people out there who like to say that Asian people have never experienced the same levels of racism as any other people of color. Racism is different for every person of color, and it doesn't mean that we can invalidate other people's struggles because they're a different race than us. You know, especially here in America, we had our former trash can of a president was so anti-China, and, you know, and whatever your opinions on China are, it doesn't matter to me, but I'm sitting there saying that he went on TV and made it very much not about their policies, but about their race, you know, calling them horrible, offensive, racist names. And then the coronavirus happened, of course, we all know about that, and that allowed people to be extremely racist towards Asians, and then now this mass shooting, and it's horrific, this stuff that's happening, honestly. And you know, if you say that it doesn't happen, you're clearly ignoring it, because I used to work with people towards the beginning of the virus. They used to sit around and make fun of my Asian coworkers and sit there and point and laugh or get angry and yell at them and say, why did you bring this virus to our country? Even if they weren't Chinese and they had been born and raised in America their whole life and their ethnicity was not Chinese. They were like Japanese, and these people were sitting here saying, why'd you bring this China virus over here? It's like, and these people were being serious about it. And that's a bigger issue and I'm not saying that the Grammys are equal to that, but I'm saying that it speaks a large message, because like I said, no hate towards Ariana Grande and Lady Gaga. Rain on Me, I thought was a good song. You know, I liked it. I listened to it. I'm not going to pretend like it wasn't a good song. Do I think that racism played a large part in the Grammys? Yeah, I mean, we saw it even with The Weeknd pulling out of the Grammys and pretty much being like, nah, fuck them. I think that the Grammys is a large problem that needs to be talked about. If BTS still won a Grammy, then I hope they get it, you know, if that's what they really, really want. But at the end of the day, K-pop does not need the Grammys or any award in America to validate them or to tell them that they are a good genre of music, because I know there are a lot of K-pop fans out there that are really, really ashamed, not necessarily ashamed of liking K-pop, but like won't tell other people that they like K-pop, which is like, that happens, I know it does, because for a long time I was ashamed of telling people that I listen to this music because you get made fun of. You never need to be ashamed of liking this music. You never need an award to validate this. None of the artists need an award to validate that they are great artists. BTS and every other single K-pop group that I've talked about on this channel and that you guys like and stan don't need these awards. It would be nice if they had them, but they do not need approval from an American Academy that is full of straight white men. Alright, so that'll be the video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm sorry I got really, really serious there at the end. I just felt like it was something that needed to be talked about. And I'm actually probably going to have to cut down a lot of this because this recording is almost an hour long and I'm not posting an hour-long video. I don't think my computer could handle that. I know you guys might have been expecting, if you're a subscriber of mine, a February comeback review, because that's what was supposed to be coming up. And it's like past the middle of March now and there's still not one. Because it's so late in March, I'm actually going to be combining February and March into one video, one big long video, and reviewing the comebacks from February and March together. I wasn't able to post, I haven't posted in almost 3 weeks, so I'm really, really sorry about that. I had some personal stuff, I had family stuff going on with, I don't really want to talk about it, kind of sad stuff. And then I had my birthday and stuff, so I was kind of busy, but here's this video. Hopefully you guys like it and are okay with it. I'm going to be working on another video almost immediately after this, So stay tuned. If you like my content, subscribe. This is only the second time I'm using my voice, so I understand that mic quality might be a bit shit. I'm sorry about that. Let me know what kind of videos you want to see in the comments below, and make sure to leave a comment, like, and subscribe. I always love to hear your opinions. Alright, love you guys. Bye.